Aiden.
Paul, how's it going, man?
I am doing very well.
Yeah.
So here we are again.
Yes, we have a guest on today.
We do. We're running through these episodes like crazy at the moment, aren't we?
I know.
So today's guest, would you like to, or would you like me to just do a brief intro?
Well, he is Grant Simpson from the Commercial Guys. We've worked with him for quite a while now. And we're quite good friends, aren't we?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah.
So having some good fun. So Grant, you started off pretty much right back in the computer industry.
Yep,
correct?
that's right. Yeah,
yep. And from what I've read, you know, you've jumped into businesses and you've just done the sales thing, right?
Yep.
And you've grown them. You've started businesses from this level, moved them up to this level, and you've done that through multiple businesses. I noticed you've also had a bit of a stint in motorbikes, right down to being a franchisee for Harvey Norman.
That's right. Yep. And
wow, that's an amazing story.
Yeah, and I guess I sort of tripped into sales at a young age. Really, I worked at a computer shop doing work experience when I was in high school, and I worked there once a week, and then convinced them, I guess, to give me a job at the end of that, at the end of school, and they did. They gave me a full-time traineeship and started fixing computers, and that was good. That was fun. And then got a bit quiet, so they said wear a suit to work the next day, and so I turned up in my PGA green suit that I had from high school. It was this really weird suit, and I walked the streets down at Kippering, and within a couple of days walked back and here's a 24 grand order for computers, and that was sort of late 99, 2000. So probably if you were to equate that today, it's probably $200,000 or $300,000 order in computers. And
that's massive.
Yeah, they didn't really let me fix computers after that. So
of course, yeah.
You found your spot.
That's right.
Yeah, sales, it seems to be your thing, hey?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So yeah, I find it easy and love working with people.
Oh, of course. So when did you move into the whole real estate market?
I actually, there was an interesting, when I was at that computer shop, this guy from Caboolture, and quite a well-known guy, his name's Mark Poole, he rolled into the computer shop one day and said, I need a computer fixed, and I started chatting to him, and he just had this amazing voice and this amazing charisma, and I really like this guy, and we got talking and then built a bit of a relationship, and then after a little while he offered me a job in real estate, and I was quite young, obviously, at that stage, and I jumped at the job. Yeah, I had a really keen interest.
Yeah, right. So you started out in residential sales.
In residential sales back then, yeah. And that was before realestate.com, before any online portal. So you had to advertise in the paper, and people would walk up to the window in the office and.
How'd that go?
The good old days.
Yeah, it was interesting. Yeah. The biggest challenge for me was that, I was 20 odd years old and, looked really young, and, I'm trying to sell a family, a block of land or a home. And it just wasn't easy. Like, it was hard to build their trust. They're like, you're just a young kid, and look, that's shifted these days. A lot of young people now are in real estate. That mindset's changed, but back then it was quite difficult. Yeah. So I had a small stint there for about 6 months and realised that, it wasn't probably going to work. So jumped back into computers.
Yeah, right.
Back into computers. Right. And then transitioned to Harvey Norman, correct?
No, so I actually worked for some independent computer shops, and again, helped grow those independent shops. And one of them was I actually worked with a company called the Disc Shop, and they were this amazing computer shop concept where normally you'd walk in and you order a computer and it's done. This one, you'd grab a trolley and you'd walk down the aisles and you'll have that, and you'll buy this, and you'll grab that, and then you walk to the counter, and then you had the option to either build it yourself or get someone there to build it. It was this amazing concept. So I started there and was doing really well at sales there, and then they gave me the opportunity because it was at Mansfield, so I was travelling from Burpengary to Mansfield, and then it was a Sunshine Coast shop that they wanted to open. They found the location and it needed to be fitted out, and they gave me the opportunity to go up there, and obviously I had to rip all the carpet up and do basically everything, clean the walls, and and I did a really good job, and I said I want to run this shop, and they said, oh, you're a bit too young for that, and so I just kept working really hard whilst we were in the fit out stage, and he said, yeah, I'll give you a run at it, and So we didn't, and that was their biggest grand opening sales figures for one of their shops that they'd opened, and sort of flowed on from there.
Wow, I see a bit of a pattern here, don't you, Jaden?
I can. Well, so, over Grant goes, so
the sales follow?
So does the sales, yeah.
So I mean, there's a lot of, we can jump around. There's a lot of stuff here we can talk about, but ultimately that's basically moved you into meeting your business partner, Adam.
That's right. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
Starting up the commercial real estate business here on the north side of Brisbane.
Yeah, that's
although
right.
I'd say southeast Queensland, because you cover quite a big catchment, don't you?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So we cover, our core market is Moreton Bay region, but we work across all the greater regions of Brisbane as well, and we manage property from as far down as the Gold Coast up to Hervey Bay. We manage some shopping centres up in Hervey Bay, and wow. So we do cover a large span there.
Yeah, right. We had him in last week to do a video, and he touched on how you guys met. And it's actually quite a cool story.
It was a very cool story. That was an awesome video, by the way.
Like two people that
love
that video.
That was
so cool.
Make it rain.
Yeah, boom.
There you go.
We've just ordered the number plates Rainmaker.
Oh, you did?
Wow, congratulations.
So,
there we go.
Oh, that's awesome.
So they're on their way.
Lovely.
So tell us that story, Grant. How did the commercial guys come about?
Well, Adam, back in the day, he had a TV and aerial installation business on Beerburn Road at Caboolture.
Yeah.
When I was at that first computer shop, back in the day, you didn't have little flat screen monitors. You had the big old what they call CRT monitors, right? And they're these big bulky things. And you may or may not remember, but if you put speakers too close, it'd pull the colour out of the screen.
Oh, yeah. It kind of it made them go fuzzy on the sides.
And then they'd lose their shape, right? So Adam had this tool that could bring the colour back in. It was called a degaussing wand or something, right? And it was this amazing little tool that you just wave over it and magically it'd fix the monitor. And so we'd get Adam to come up and degauss the monitors and fix the monitors and everything for our clients and that. And that's how I met Adam and through that shop. And we stayed in touch. And, for a while there, we didn't sort of catch up very, very much. And then, probably 2008, 2009, I was at Harvey Norman, and Adam still had his aerial installation business, but he was doing a little bit in residential real estate. And I picked up the phone and caught up with him again. And then we met up a few times and then I jumped into real estate, of course, and then Adam started to sort of jump across to commercial with me, and then sort of fast forward to 2015, and that's when we decided let's do it. We think that we've got a point of difference in the market with both of our skill sets, and so we did it. We haven't looked back.
Wow, that is awesome. And they're
cool.
Very different people, aren't they? Like you can see how that partnership works between those two. Like they've got very, very unique qualities.
Yeah, it's like peas and carrots, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So 5 years in, and you've grown the team already. So you've got, we did a photo shoot with how many people turned up that day, Jane? 7 people, 8 people or something?
Yeah, quite a lot.
So that's pretty rapid growth in just a small period of time.
Yeah, it has been. And that's... I guess we put that down to we created some really strong foundations in the business, in the first 3 years. And that's been able to allow us to grow really quickly by just setting those foundations. That's primarily what Adam's done. He's done a great job at, just getting, and that's his strength, is getting, organisation and getting procedures in place. And some of the little things like just, in normal agency world, you get given a phone and they say, make phone calls. Yep. They don't tell you what the in-betweens are. That's what we do differently. And, right down to, our agents don't prepare paperwork. Our office prepares the paperwork. So then from our point of view, the paperwork's always prepared perfectly. There's nothing worse than, in my opinion, than having an agent prepare a lease or a contract and makes a typo in it, or, then a lawyer's got to fix it, things like that. We don't do that. And that's what Adam's strength is, and that's helped us get the business to where we've gotten to now.
And it's helped the guys grow immensely. When you're in that industry, there is a lot that goes on behind the scenes. And when someone's really good at sales and they're distracted by those things, it can really take them off their A game, can't it?
Absolutely. And, that's why our guys can do so many deals in the year. I think on an average, most commercial agents might do 50, 60 deals a year. JD Davies this year, you know, JD, he'll be on track for about 100 to 110 deals this year.
Wow.
Good on him.
Yeah, he's just
Well
he's
done.
23 years old, and he's just absolutely smashing it. But that's because he doesn't have to get tied down with the nitty-gritty paperwork and typing out clauses or anything like that. Our team does that. So yeah,
He just does what he does well.
Exactly.
And that's all he does.
that's right. And we're I always say salespeople are, you know, great talkers. They're great at building rapport, but not really that good at organising themselves. And I'll attest to that. I'm not organised person. You know, my desk's got paperwork all over it. You look at Adam's desk; it's perfectly clean. Right? everything's in its place. And, you know, and my sales agents are the same. You know, there's stuff all over their desks, and you know, but their most important thing is the next deal.
Yeah.
You know, and meeting the next client.
Well, that's So okay. So you're starting the business with a nurturing environment to help people grow. Yep. And then you're bringing some very unique, products and services to your business as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of them that we spoke about was repositioning, which I thought was a fantastic concept, an amazing concept.
I'm very passionate about it. Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about how landlords can benefit from repositioning, and explain what that is.
So repositioning essentially is, you know, let's say you've got just a standard old iron constructed warehouse. It might have a block wall down one side and then ironclad on the other side. And it was built, let's say 1970s, 1980s. And there's a lot of places around, you know, everywhere's got those style of sheds. And they look dated, right? And then you've got, just down the road, you've got this nice new tilt panel constructed warehouse. It's nice concrete. It's all painted nice. And that's what you're competing against, right? And people these days like to go for the shiny things, you know. It's, you know, I want to turn key and I want to turn up and I want to walk in and it's got to look nice and present nice. So what repositioning is essentially is taking one of those older style warehouses and making it look new again, and make it look appealing, and at the same time giving it an uplift in price and an uplift in potential rent returns for the owner. And a good example of that, I did one at Launton earlier this year. The client, it was only a little one. The client bought it for about $180,000 about 3 years ago. We've managed that property for that client through that period. The tenant gave us notice to vacate. They were moving on. They needed something bigger. What we did there is I walked into the shed and I thought, oh, it's a bit dated. It looks, you know, it needs a paint and, you know, things like that. Now, normally you just paint the office, maybe put some new flooring down. With this shed, it was part iron, part block constructed. So what we did was we painted the walls from top to bottom in the warehouse in a light grey, and even the iron, and then we painted the floors in it. We painted all the walls in the office, gave it a full clean. We got a suite of professional photos done. We leased that property 3 weeks later at a higher rent. That property now is worth $287,000.
Wow.
Far out.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's insane.
The cost to do that for the client was only about $12,000-$13,000.
That's a good return on investment.
That's insane.
What's that,
blows my
100%?
mind.
No, it's like 1,000%.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So-
that's right. And you know, other ones I've helped clients over the years. I sold a property for $1,050,000, and it looked dated. It was that a lot of the buildings in the area. So you notice the older ones, right? They're like a mustard color or like a light sort of cream or you know, things like that. So that one was like that. It was like this light yellowy sort of color and just looked old and dated. But inside, it was a great building. It was a great shape, easy format to lease out. But to a tenant, it didn't have street appeal. So I think they spent about $30,000 on that. We placed a couple of tenants in there. That building sold for $2,060,000 about 15 months later.
Boom.
So yeah, it's
No words, eh? That's insane.
Wow. So that's okay. So that's a service that people need to understand and embrace. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, the landlords, their balance sheets would be increasing
Absolutely.
so quickly, and giving them the flexibility to then increase their investment portfolio. Would that not?
Yeah, that's right. Well, it's creating equity in their property. They
Yeah.
can go and borrow and buy more property and things like that. And that's always been my belief, I guess, with our property management portfolio. If I help my clients grow their assets in value, I hope that they go and buy another one. And if it's in our region, I hope, and that's all I can do is hope that they give it to us and I can do it again. And that's what's happened with some of our clients. They've bought more properties, we've added value to them, and they go again. And we love managing them for them.
So property management, again, is a very unique part of commercial. Like it's popular in resi, but in commercial real estate, it's not really done well. And you guys are really kicking some awesome goals in that area as well.
Yeah, and look, that's mainly too because we are landlords as well. So we're not just agents and property managers. We are landlords as well. So we see it from both sides. So just like my properties and Adam's properties, we reposition those. For the same reasons. We add value to them so we can buy again.
So, Jaden, just to fill you in, so commercial is a little bit different to residential. So when you lease a property, pretty much the landlord handles that part of it, and it's his responsibility.
Oh, so the dude who buys it is the person who sort of
or leasing it or renting it from them. Yeah, right, So you go to your property manager and you do a lease and that type of thing. Then the agency is kind of handling that for you.
Yeah,
it's not really done in commercial. Whereas these guys are doing that within the commercial industry, helping manage and take all that pressure off the landlord, any disputes or issues, and try and keep those relationships and those bonds working all the time and not breaking down as a one-on-one, which is obviously helping you guys out massively.
Absolutely, yeah. And look, a few years ago, I stumbled across this property and then the owner needed some help with it, and he reached out in the end, and he had a tenant in there, and the tenant was like a diesel fitter or something, and it was just like there was truck tires, like the whole warehouse. It was like 300 square metre warehouse, and it was just jam-packed full of junk. And the tenant was about 6 or 8 months behind in rent.
Yeah.
And that owner managed that property himself. And the challenge with that was that he was in the building next door, right? So the guy, he'd go and say, "Oh, mate, can you pay your rent?" "Oh, no, I'm doing a bit tough or whatever," and things like that. And that's fine. People do it tough. But then the next month he'd go, "Mate, you're a month behind. Can you I need you to fix it up." "Oh, no, I can't fix it up at the moment. I'll give you $500 or I'll give you $1,000. And so this guy gradually got more and more in arrears. And, it got to that 8-month point where, it's the guy's in a lot of arrears and there's no real coming back from it. And, that's where we were able to jump in and help that client and really reel that rent arrears back in, and get the place tidied back up because, it was really messy in there. So, yeah, that's what we do really, really well. And I think that when an owner has a relationship with the tenant, if they're next door or if they're not next door, the tenant can just ring up and go, "Hey, I need some help," or, "this is going on," or whatever. When there's someone in the middle, we can mediate that. And I think when it's a landlord and a tenant relationship, there's no one there. So you can find that the tenant and the landlord will butt heads and then they're angry at each other. Whereas we're the meat and the sandwich essentially. So, we can be that good cop, bad cop style situation. And we find that then the tenant landlord relationship is so much stronger. The tenant retention is so much longer as well. So they hold a tenant for longer as well. Some of the other things that I've noticed over my career is some landlords, when they manage it themselves, there's a mechanism in every lease that allows you to put the rent up annually, and it's generally between either CPI or 3 or 4% annually. I've seen some leases where an owner hasn't put the rent up for 5 years. Now that directly affects the capital value of the property. Now that rent, if it's $100,000 a year and it's a 3% increase, that can be $15,000, $20,000 over that 3 or 5 year period that they haven't put the rent up. The management fees are really insignificant if you're not getting those uplifts. So, if it's being run right and the manager's running it right and they're getting the annual increases, capital value goes up, you're getting your rent increases annually. It just runs so much better, and that's where we've really filled the gap. Yeah,
I would say probably the biggest benefit though for that service right now during this pandemic would have been the lifesaver for a lot of people. I can imagine not having that. You would have had landlords running around not knowing what to do. You'd have had tenants going, "Oh my God, what am I going to do?" And they're not bringing or keeping that relationship going. Whereas I'm guessing that, I couldn't imagine how busy you guys were when that all started, but I guess that those connections were pretty solid and you worked through that quite well and had very little fallout, if any, I would assume.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, very minimal.
Yep.
And it was a tough time. It was a tough time for everybody. There was a lot of, it was crystal ball stuff really. You didn't know what was going to go on and there was a lot of concern. So I'll never forget the day or the night that Scott Morrison got on TV and said that there's a certain sectors of the industry that had to shut down. And we came back in the next day and by 8 a.m. that morning, we had 89 emails in the inbox from tenants asking questions, and, you know, getting assistance and things like that. And the biggest thing was that, you know, you had to understand the code of conduct very, very quickly. And I think if you're an owner manager, and you know, what I've found in the commercial market is it's a lot of owners are business owners themselves, and they invest in commercial property. Yeah. So they're trying to figure out their own business, let alone for another tenant. So yeah, that's where we had a really good handle during that time.
Yeah. So those fees would,
and I guess that would have saved a lot of heartache for the owners of those spaces, not having to deal, I guess, personally with the tenants, because that's heartbreaking.
Absolutely.
Not knowing how to communicate that. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah, absolutely. And I think we were also a good sounding board for our owners, our landlords. You know, they were able to ask us questions, and you know, again, Adam's strength, he studied that code of conduct, and you know, we got some really good advice on it. So it was that we were able to provide the landlords and the tenants, for that matter, you know, good advice.
So those management fees are really incidental in the big scheme of things.
Absolutely.
Like all that groundwork that you're doing and research, and obviously all the maintenance that you're doing and keeping those, that's a lot of work. Yeah,
and just the tenant retention. Like you think about it, if you lose a tenant in your building because they're unhappy with maybe the way that the landlord's made that decision, or they're just clashing when it's an owner-manager style arrangement. If they lose a tenant, the average time on market in commercial is roughly between 3 and 6 months time on market for most properties, and it's generally around the 3-month period. But then you've got some properties that might be location, or it hasn't been repositioned, and it just doesn't present as well. You factor that time, and that could equate to $20,000 in missed rent, plus then the cost to advertise it, and the leasing costs, and the legal costs to do the new lease and everything like that. You sort of, that dollar value gets right up there. So if you can keep a tenant happy, those costs come right down. They're not there. And again, it comes back to, the management fee is not that expensive if you weigh all those factors up over the ownership of the property.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So there's another little, I guess, quirk in the commercial space. All right. So I'll tell you a little bit of a story. So I was looking around to lease a property. And one thing I noticed in this industry is the quality of the content. Yeah. Right? So the way I see it is, I'm a human being. I have exactly the same sort of attraction to a commercial property and information of a commercial as I would residential. Yeah. So whether I'm a CEO or a homeowner, I need to know, sizes of rooms. I need to know, does this work for me? Just like you would a home. But in commercial, it's just not done. No. Like you guys, obviously, you're nailing that part of it. Like, it's amazing the content that you guys are pushing out, but it's not normal in the industry. Like, what's going on there?
Commercial's been a bit more of a looser market, and I guess it's the residential market's always been sort of a bigger market, I guess, and that's sort of through 70s, 80s, and earlier in that, I think back early 90s and stuff like that, there wasn't a lot of commercial real estate agents around. The owners probably, back then just put a sign up out the front and, they'd shake hands and go, yeah, you can move in and, give me a cash bond or whatever. And, then as agents come in, there's not the same level of training in the commercial sector as what there is in the residential sector. That's what I noticed coming into this industry. Residential, there's a lot of, information online. There's a lot of, Chris Gilmore and Glenn Twiddle, they do a lot of those, those online sessions and things like that. You can get coaching. Commercial doesn't have that. And so when, and like I was saying before, you start in an agency, and I'll never forget this, they go, here's your phone, make some phone calls. Off you go, right? And they give you very minimal training. And so it's a bit of guesswork, right? So you got a new agent that starts in the market, and if they haven't had that support and training, and I've seen that a number of times, they'll just have a go, and they don't get all of those particulars in the script. Some of the key things, especially in the warehousing sector, especially as more online businesses, and that's online is just booming now, and they palletize their stock, right? So it's important that you put the actual internal height of the warehouse. because that's what's important to a lot of users. You know, if it's only got a 4.5 metre roof height, you can't really palletise stock in there. But if it's got a 7 or an 8 metre internal height, you can run additional height in that warehouse. You know, you can run additional pallet racking right up high. Yep. You know, and that's just some of the little things. You know, the other things that, especially, and I talk warehousing a lot, but it's sort of the predominant market at the moment. But the other major thing is 3-phase power. How many amps 3-phase power? That's the other critical part too. You know, like just those little bits and pieces that I don't think get executed well. You know, and that's where we've sort of been pushing those boundaries a lot. You know, Adam and I, we invested in a Matterport 3D camera earlier this year, and that's again to just elevate our listings to the next level. Yeah, right. You know, I think we'd probably be, I'd be close to saying that we'd be the only commercial agency in Brisbane that actually has a Matterport 3D camera in-house. You know, that, and you know, we did that as well because of COVID. You know, you still have businesses in Victoria and Sydney that still have outlets up here, that, and especially an online distribution warehouse. You might have a head office in Melbourne. That person can't come up to Queensland and actually walk through the warehouse. So we took the warehouse to those people down in Melbourne, and it's worked really, really well. And we can show how many 3-phase power points, and you know, as you know, in Matterport, you can measure the internal heights and the widths of the building and everything like that. So yeah, we're really driving that area of the marketing of the properties, and you guys have been a great help with that.
Thank you.
You know, we're currently marketing that property in North Lakes, which you guys did the promotion for us, and you know, I think last week you were saying we're at about 26,000 impressions. I mean, that's phenomenal.
It's huge.
You know, off such a low spend.
Yeah. Because no one's doing it, Jaden.
So why did you guys choose to be different? Like, why did you go, all right, let's do marketing?
Not just different. There are still commercial agencies out there taking photos on their iPhone with no floor plans, expecting people to know exactly what they want.
I know. And
right? They're way behind.
I said this to our team this morning, you know, so, and I'll put it like this, if you own an industrial warehouse or a retail shop or a commercial office space,
yep,
you probably own a home too, right? But if you were to go and put that house on the market tomorrow, you'd probably let the agent sell you the marketing package, and you know, and more now I'm hearing of people doing staging in the properties, you know, setting the furniture up and stuff like that. You're happy to go and do it on your home, but not happy to do it on your income producing asset. And that's what, you know, that's what I'm still puzzled by, or, you know, you're not being given the right information from the agent around, you know, marketing the asset well. Yeah. So that's why that's why we're very focused on that.
Of course. So have you seen, because there would have been a point in time where you didn't do high-end content marketing. Have you seen a change, big, small, in terms of how, like, time on market, that kind of thing? Have you seen a
absolutely. There was a long period at the start of my career there where I was just doing happy snaps off the phone. I did at one point go out and buy an SLR camera.
Yeah.
But no matter how much you spend on an SLR camera, you're not a professional photographer, is what I learned. I went out and bought this nice Canon camera and still took crappy photos. So, you know, it's, you know, and that's why, you know, you guys are so important. You know how to take a photo. You know the right light. You know how to make the room look the size it is. You know, me, I take a photo, snap, you know, the room looks crap. You know, so, and then when we started to then transition across to doing the professional photos and now to the videos, we've noticed a massive increase in reduction on time on market, the amount of inquiries, and I think most important is the feedback that we get. You know, I talk about that North Lakes property again that we just marketed. You know, JD's been running that one for me, and you know, he's had, as soon as we ran that campaign, 5 inquiries. He's currently negotiating with 2 buyers on that property right now.
Multiple offer on commercial. That's
offers.
Pretty cool. That doesn't happen often.
And it happened fast. But the feedback that, you know, he'd come back to the office and say, the people that just inspected with me, they said, we looked at the photos, we looked at the Matterport, you know, we looked at the video, we've come out and seen it, and you guys absolutely nailed it. It is what it is, and it looks fantastic. You know, so, and you know, there's properties out there that look amazing, but with ordinary photos, they just look like everything else.
Absolutely.
I just thought, because you guys are one of few right now who do it properly. When you go onto all of the sites and domains and stuff with all of the
you should see their profile,
right? You'd have like shit listing. What the hell is that? Like photos, videos, 3Ds, floor plans, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like talk about being the, what's that phrase which you love, being the
the orange in the basket of apples.
Yeah. Like that is perfect.
A perfect fit.
Perfect.
But you got to think about this though, Jane. Like people are people. They have the same. They look for the same stuff.
Of course, they want
just because it's commercial and not residential, it doesn't mean that you're not human. Like you still need the same information. You still need to be attracted to it. You still need to feel good about. Oh yeah, I want to look at it. You've got to be engaged.
Yeah. At the end of the day, we are marketing agents.
Yeah,
we should be marketing the properties well.
Absolutely,
and that's it in a nutshell. And I think that's. Adam and I recognise that because we've both had different businesses, and my Harvey Norman background, I learned how to do good, strong marketing and how to get people to buy and things like that. So we recognise that, look, I hope the industry catches up actually, because I think the properties deserve that.
Of course.
Yeah,
well, I think we'll take a quick break.
Yes,
and we'll talk some more about marketing. Plus, who knows?
Who knows? Stay tuned. Welcome back, everyone. We've just had a short break here with Grant. had an awesome off-air story that we might share with you all.
Yes. So Grant Simpson from the Commercial Guys. We were talking about marketing, how the commercial guys do things different. And I think we talked about a few things off air. So let's hit it off with the first topic, Paul.
Yeah, so, okay, obviously you're really passionate about marketing, time on market, everything's dropping, it's transforming your business. I would also assume that, the tire kickers out there, you're not sort of going out to properties multiple times, they've got the information they need. So how has that transformed, like, your business? Like,
it's I guess the quality of the leads is a lot better. The confidence from our owners, knowing that we've got their back, and that we're throwing everything at it. We're doing great marketing. They feel a lot better about it. And when they go to look at their property online, they see it. They go, wow, it looks amazing. And I've had clients ring up after we've done videos and go, you guys nailed that video. 9 North Shore Drive was a great example of that. With those doors pumping up.
Yeah, everyone wants to put a brewery in there now, don't they?
Yeah. And look, that owner, she said, she complimented us on that. She said, we love that because how do you show these bifolding doors that slide up? How do you actually show that in a photo? And you can't. So it just looks like glass at the front. And they were really pleased with that.
Wow, that's awesome. There you go.
That's really cool.
We're helping out a little bit.
I love it.
So here's what I've learnt so far. So not only are you a nurturing business that helps train and give people resources, you're also, almost financial property advisors to landlords to help them reposition property. You're taking the pressure off them by managing their property. And I would say that everything's handled for your team.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you've built this business obviously for growth.
Yes.
Right? So if anyone's looking at joining or wanting to be a part of this, everything's handled. It'll be completely different to what they would have experienced somewhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. And
so how is that environment? What does that look like for a salesperson?
So JD Davies is a really great example. JD started, I think he was about 19 when he started, and JD, his background, he'd been doing some of that hard sales stuff, like the selling of the charity stuff in the shopping centres, and having to go up to someone while they're doing their shopping, go, hey, can I sell you some of that? And JD come across to us, and and didn't know a lot about what we do, and what warehouses and office and things like that. So rather than just say to JD, here's a phone, make a phone call. JD actually became my driver for about the first sort of what we thought was going to be 12 months. It actually only turned into about sort of 4.5, 5 months. But he just drove me around. But in doing that, he got to hear on the hands-free, you know, the phone calls, how they flowed. He got to listen to how I prospected. You know, he got to listen to how I negotiated a deal. You know, so he got that first-hand experience and got, you know, and what we thought, you know, it was a slow process, just showing him what to do, and then sort of introduced him into doing some prospecting phone calls himself, and then I'd sort of give him some critiquing and stuff like that, and that honed his skills. And just mentoring him through that process. By about the 6-month point, you know, he was out running an inspection and, you know, and meeting with people, and then that built his confidence. And then, you know, I'd show him a little bit more, and you know, in that initial stage, I said to him, you know, when he started to go out and do inspections and get his own listings, I just want you to focus on leasing. Just nail leasing. Don't worry about trying to sell anything, because what will happen is you'll trip over that. You know, and about the 12-month point, he got a listing for a sale because it just came natural. But he knew how to put deals together for leases, and, you know, he knew that the concepts there. And then by falling into that sale, he then started to learn that process, and I coached him again on that. And you know, now he's selling independently and leasing independently as well. And you know, fast forward 3 years, and he's just absolutely smashing out the deals. What that also taught me is it gave me this training foundation essentially, and I don't get everyone who starts with us to obviously drive me around. I've you know, Jay Villarreal, he started with us earlier this year, and he was at another agency, and in my opinion, you know, that you just got given a phone and said call. You know, Jay started, and one of the commitments I made to Jay was, I said, look, I'm happy to come in at 7 o'clock every morning. You know, if you are, for the first 3 months, and we'll just do intensive training, how to list, how to, you know, do leases, how to put the deals together. I think probably 3 weeks in, we'd smashed out a heap of work, and he sort of started on his own. And then obviously COVID happened, and, you know, and so we all had to sort of disperse home and work from home. So that sort of slowed his process down a little bit. But I'm proud to say that he, in the last 6 months, has done 27 deals on his own.
Wow.
Since the start of this year when he started with you guys.
Yeah.
And the industry standard's 50.
Yeah, that's right. So, most people are happy doing 50, and, you know, Jay's already done 27 deals, and, you know, just this week he's got a whole ton of deals lined up. So, you know, and again, it's just, you know, that giving them the tools that they require, not bogging them down with the paperwork side of things. You know, like you guys know what a Form 6 is, which is the authority to act as an agent for the client. They don't prepare them. You know, we do that in-house for them, and you know, for a few reasons, it's done properly. You know, it's prepared for them. Adam, in the early days, went out and got DocuSign. We were one of the first to adopt DocuSign. To make things easier and seamless for everyone involved, the client, you know, us, the agent, you know, and it sped up the process. So, you know, we offer DocuSign, you know, so the agents can offer that to the client, or they can go out and see the client if the client, you know, is in the area. Everything we do so that, you know, the agents can just get out there and do what they do best. And then the training side of things is, you know, that I've got a very hands-on approach to that. I meet with my sales team every morning individually, 15 minutes per salesperson. We catch up, we work out what the plan is for the day. You know, now JD, I don't meet with JD every day because he's working independently now. So I catch up with JD once a week. Let's break down where you're up to. What are you doing? You know, but you know, we've just started Sam Turkin as well. He's started. He's our second week in, and he's already got 2 listings so far this week, you know, and again, he's come from a business sales background, transitioning into commercial. You know, so he had some of those principles, just helped him, guided him with, you know, how to get the listings, things like that. And, you know, already that's happening for him. I think fast forward 6 months, he'll be smashing out deals too. It's just about making sure that the guys feel comfortable. This industry, there's so much compliance, and, you know, you've got to know, you can't make mistakes in this industry, in my opinion, because that can impact heavily on someone's finances. So, you know, if you just throw someone a phone, that's when mistakes can happen. But if you give them the right training and work with them closely, and you know, that it just breeds success.
That's amazing, isn't it? There you go.
It's unreal.
Keeping your aces in the places, as they say.
Yeah.
So you came in here the other day and you brought us like a, I'd say a very fancy brochure. What do you call that?
That's an information memorandum.
Yep.
And look, a lot of agencies do that. We went into a lot greater detail in that. And essentially an information memorandum is everything that a buyer needs to do, everything a buyer needs to understand for their due diligence. And they can give that to their accountant, they can give it to their bank, they can give it to their lawyer, and they can review it and do their due diligence. And it helps them make a decision faster, in my opinion. It also gives them confidence in the property and the selling agent, in my opinion, as well. If it's a well packaged information memorandum, back in the day, if you didn't prepare an IM, you'd get a phone call, and I think it would go like this: "Hey, I'm interested in this property." You go, "Yep. I need some information. Can you send me the rates notice?" "Yeah, no worries. I'll send you. Have you got any floor plans?" "Oh, I'll ask the owner for that." So then there goes a day. And then the next day they ring up and go, "Oh, there's a body corporate on this. Can I have the disclosure statement, or can I have some information on what the cost of the body corporate are?" The day after they'll ring back and go, "Oh, I didn't get the water bill off you." So there goes a week with the buyer. That's right. And it doesn't really instill confidence with the buyer because they're having it back and forward. The information memorandum, you hand them everything. It's got the plans. It's got we even put title searches in there for them.
All your nice photos.
Yeah, absolutely. So the photos that you guys do for us. The real thing I like is when you put those placeholders on the photo showing all of the amenities,
the locations.
The area. Yeah, that's just great. And again, if you've got an investment sale, putting all that information in there for someone in Melbourne or Sydney just gives them all the information there. They can do their due diligence and make a decision faster.
Yep.
And in my opinion, you don't get them carving up the price as much because of the lack of confidence. How can they can be confident, they'll put in a better offer.
Absolutely. And these are prepared internally as well, Jaden. So again, the agent's not preparing this. It's all done internally. And the one I saw was about 20, 30 pages thick.
Yeah,
it was very comprehensive.
Yeah, the one in Brisbane we're currently marking is probably about 36 pages, yeah. Yep.
So all of that preparation behind the scenes obviously, leads to the success of your team.
Yep, absolutely, yeah.
You need more people.
Yeah, be good. Look, we're certainly, the business is growing for us. We see the business to continue growing, and I want more agents to come on board and join us. And I think that'll happen quicker and quicker every year as we grow, because people will see what we do, how we do it differently, how we train. Agents will feel confident in coming across or coming to work with us. The more they see that, and the more they see JD's success and Jay's success and Sam's success, I think we will grow.
That's amazing. So what do you see in the next 5 to 10 years? Like, where do you see the commercial guys being? Like, what's your goal or your guys' goal?
We want to grow, obviously, the management side of our business. That's a really important part of our business, and that's the area Adam also looks after, and that's really important that we grow, and that's growing really, really strong. So we'll see that grow. More agents in our business to service more areas. So in a Brisbane North, Sunshine Coast is another area that's big for growth, and I flagged that as a big area for growth that we'd love to crack into. Sort of heading toward south to the Brisbane River and sort of really working that area. And it's such a big catchment. You could put 20 agents on and there's still plenty of work.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, but it's just about, that controlled growth year by year and just making sure, because you don't ever want, in my opinion, you don't ever want to get out of control with the amount of agents you've got and not be able to give them enough time and training. I think putting 3 agents on at once, you just couldn't give them all the same level of training. So it's that slow, controlled, training and building foundations so that those agents stay with us long term. I think in the market you see a lot of agents chop and change. That doesn't instill confidence with an owner when they chop and change around the different agencies either. It's really about building those foundations so that the guys love working with us. And they feel confident because they're getting the training and the support and having fun. We have a lot of fun.
I can tell. Yep, I can tell. The whole team just gels, don't they?
Yeah.
Yep.
Just gel. It's amazing.
Yep.
So I'm going to ask you just one final question before we wrap it up. And we touched on this on one of our other episodes, and I think it's probably important for people to know this. So what's your why? Put obviously, the toys and stuff that come with the business, but what's your why? Like, you're very passionate about the commercial guys.
Yep.
So what's your why? Why are you here? Why are you doing it?
I love what I do. I'm very passionate about what I do, and I have fun doing it. And I guess when I was at Harvey Norman, I had a good time there, but I always want to get back to real estate. I guess I'm just passionate about real estate, and I love what I do, and I like to see businesses grow, and it's just so exciting watching our business grow, from strength to strength. So I guess that's why I do what I do and why I'm here.
Yeah.
And you can have a bit of fun with it. It's not just, it is business to business, but you can still have a bit of fun with it, and put a bit of pizzazz into what you do and selling and listing and stuff like that. Yeah.
You're definitely innovating the way, aren't they? And pushing forward and going, do you know what? We're in this industry. This is us. Don't worry about the rest. This is what we know people want. This is where we're going. And you're being supported and backed up by people that love what you're producing, which is obviously, a testament to what you're doing and driving, the commercial industry in a new direction. And you know what? I hope other people follow, because isn't that the best form of flattery when you have people trying to copy you? Like,
exactly.
you know you're up the front there and you're doing the right thing for people. So
yeah, that's right. And it'll push us to go one better and innovate even more.
Exactly.
Well done.
Well, I can't wait for 2021.
Me neither.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is Grant Simpson, everyone, from the Commercial Guys. And tune in. And if you want to reach out to Grant in any way, then feel free to do so. Thanks very much for coming. I hope you enjoyed your little seat.
Yeah, it's really cool.
All this technology.
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Excellent. Well done. Thank you very much, Grant. And we'll can't wait to see this out in the airwaves.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Bye.